Hey folks, this is the Glock G41. This is their long slide Glock in 45. Just came out this year. It's a really nice shooter, very smooth. If the military were to ever adopt a 45 caliber and they start looking at the Glock, this one here I believe would be the ultimate combat handgun. It has a longer sight radius than a standard Glock 45, which would be the G20 One. So it shoots a little bit more accurate. This is actually, the long slides are kind of their competition guns. And this one here is just, it'd be an awesome combat gun. Outstanding handgun. The G41, it only comes in a Gen 4, since that's what is on the current production right now. Now, the word I got from Glock, for you guys out there who like the Gen 3s, they're not going to stop making the Gen 3s. They're just going to offer two different variations, so there'll always be a Gen 3 and a Gen 4. However, when new pistols are released, it'll just be in Gen 4. The G41 is 8.9 inches long, as compared to the standard G21 is 8.03. So it's 0.9 inches longer, around in there, roughly. The G34, which is the long slide 9mm, is 8.74 inches long. So it's about 0.16 inches longer than that. The height on this is 5.47, which is the same as the G21. So same grip height. The width is 1.28 inches, which is 0.01 inches wider than a G21. They don't have a barrel height listed on their website for this, and I didn't measure it ahead of time. Pretty much all Glocks are 1.26, so I imagine it would be 1.26. The sight radius is 7.56, which is roughly 1 inch longer than the G21 standard size. The barrel length is 5.31 as compared to 4.6 on the G21. The weight is 27 ounces. That is the unloaded weight. Now the curious thing is, this is actually 2.3 ounces lighter than the G21, and I'll get a little bit more into that later. The trigger pull on here is 5.5. The trigger travel is 0.49, which is also the reset. It uses the same magazines as the G21, so it has a capacity of 13. Here is the G21 and the G34 to compare it to. Slightly longer. You'll notice the G34, they actually took two different methods to make the slide work the same as the G17. It needed to be the same weight, so they cut this out of the top, and that's how they dealt with it. Now the 45, they dealt with differently. They actually took metal off the inside of the frame and made it the walls thinner, and that's how they kept the weight the same. And like I said, the slide is actually lighter than the G21. Most Glocks are pretty much like that. The difference, and I believe I pointed this out before, the difference between this and the G30 is in front of the chamber. Everything back behind the chamber is the same. It's the exact same slide. So the length in front of the chamber is the only difference. Same with all their compact models, and pretty much the only thing that does not fit that is the slimline models. Other than that, all of them are the same amongst the calibers. Of course, there's the large frame 10mm and 45s and a smaller frame of everything else, but other than that, it's same slide, same frame. I have really enjoyed shooting this. I hate to send it back to Glock, but unfortunately I have to. I guess, you know, honestly, I'm not that much into the 45 as to where I would buy one. If I was into a 45 Glock, this would be the one model that I would buy. I think it's a extremely nice shooting 45. One thing I think is kind of cool about this 45 is it almost looks like a double barrel, because the slide spring hole right here is almost the same size as this. So somebody that didn't know better Would think that's a double barrel. Kind of neat looking. I want to show you here some differences with the slide. This middle one is the G41, that's the new 45 lawn slide. This is the G34, which is the 9mm lawn slide. And this one here is the G21 Gen 4. These are all Gen 4s. Something else you might notice about this G34 is there is no MBS here. MBS is modular backstrap system, and I asked Glock why they no longer put that on in Gen 4s, and they said they just decided it's not necessary, they don't need it, so they did away with it. So as of now, you will no longer see MBS on the slides of the Gen 4s. If you are looking for a Glock in 45 a.c.p, I would strongly consider the G41. I think it's an outstanding pistol. I think it shoots smooth. I think the G21 and even the G30, G36, all those, I mean, they're all nice shooting pistols. But this G41 is the best shooting 45 Glock, 45 a.c.p Glock. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Semper Fi, and God bless. Now, interestingly enough, this, as I said, it's 0.186 inches thick. The G34 is 0.197 inches thick at the thickest part. The G34 is thicker at the thickest part than the G41, which is a 45. That's kind of radical. From this point right here on the 41, where it gets thinner, it goes down to 0.111 inches thick, which is the same exact thickness as the thin portion of the G34, the 9mm. This right here, the G34 gets thin right here, the G41 right here. So it gets thinner quicker, but it's the same thickness. It's very interesting. It just says a lot about how manufacturing, how far it's come since when the G21 was released. They're able to put this 45 caliber in essentially the same thickness of a slide as the 9mm. The G21 weighs 1 pound and 3/4 ounce. The G41 weighs 14 1/8 ounce. So the G34, even though it has a longer slide, is lighter because of that cutout section. Because the whole thing is thinner, but plus it has that cutout section. The G34 weighs 13 1/8 inch. So it's 1 ounce lighter than